Good morning. Hi, I'm Mrs. Spitz. Glad you could make it to this little video class. So you should have your composition book and a pencil out if you need to write this down, or if it's just a review lesson, you could follow along in your book, okay? So we're covering today, the lesson is Polyominoes, and it probably sounds like a word you know, but let me give you the definition. Those are shapes that are made by joining squares edge to edge or sides to side. So let me show you. This is the one, this is how we join them. This is not how we join them. This would be considered joining them by their vertex, right? If you remember little geometry, the little points are called vertices, right? We're not joining them by that. We're joining them by their perimeter, the edges that go around, okay? So if you'll write that in your journal, if you haven't done that in a previous lesson, that's the definition. So poly, if you remember that in geometry, means many, okay? So this is many different shapes that we can make with these figures. So the best known example, and I said you might have heard something that sounds like polyominoes, is a domino, right? So the domino has two sections to it, but we're going to be working with something more than dominoes. We're going to be working with three squares. So I'm going to write the name up here when we have three squares together. Those are called trominos, right? The tro is a little variation of tri, and you've heard that prefix before from the Greek and the Latin, meaning three, okay? So this is going to be three little squares that we're going to join. So I'm going to put those over here. Actually, let's write that down here. Three squares, okay? And what we're going to do with this is find out how many different shapes we can make. Well, obviously, we can put them in a line like that. We call that a train because when we have one car after another in a train, that's the train formation for these polyominoes. But I can also do this and make a vertical train, right? That was horizontal. I can make a vertical one, but it's still the same shape. So we can only count that as one shape that you can make with the trominos, okay? But let's put it back like this again. Can I make another one by joining edges to edge? Well, I could move one of these here. Now, it makes it look like a chair, doesn't it? But this is another shape that we would have as a tromino. I could also put this underneath here, but it's still the same shape, isn't it? I could move this square here, still the same shape, and here. So it only counts as one other shape. Even if it's rotated in space and looks a little different, it's the same formation, okay? So for trominos, for the three squares, we have two different shapes, all right? And I'd like you to write this down in your book and draw those two shapes. You can put them in any configuration. There's a little picture here I've drawn on the graph paper, so you can make your train horizontal. You can even make it vertical if you want. And then those three are going to be together like a chair, but again, if you rotate it in different positions, it's fine. Those are the only two shapes you have. Okay. I'll give you a second to finish that. All right, so I'm going to move on to adding one more shape, one more square, I should say, to this. I'm going to make the train here. So instead of three, I'm going to put four here, okay? All right, and four, you might remember the quadrilateral, which is four sides, right? And there's another prefix that means four, and that is tetra. So this one is called, oops, let me do that. Tetrominos. and the tetrominos are 4 squares, all right? Move this down just a tad here. So obviously we can do the train shape, you know, we can have that horizontal or vertical. So let's explore some of those. I'll give you a second, go ahead and write tetrominos down, knowing this tetra means 4. And we'll see how many different shapes we can make with the tetrominos. So obviously we have the train, which could be horizontal or vertical, right? And I'm going to have my book for that one, because I have all these shapes written down here. Well, let's see, we can also make a little square here. We can put those 4 together, make a square formation, right? So go ahead and draw that in your book. It's easy to do with your graph paper. Just outline those squares. Well, we can also put, remember we have to go our edge to edge. We can slide 2 of these over underneath them and make like a little stair step configuration, right? And then we could move one up and keep one in the middle like that. That's an interesting little one. Looks like a table with one leg or something, or a pedestal. And then one other shape that we have with this is I can move one square underneath and another one. And it looks kind of like an L. If I moved it around, it would have an L shape, right? Put it like that and make it look like an L if you want. Doesn't matter, this square could be up here or down here, could be over here or there. Still the same shape and space, right? So we can only count that as one of them. So for the tetrominos, if you counted those up, we have 5 different shapes, okay? And for a review, I have those written or drawn over here. And there they are. It's the tetrominos. All right, and I hope I'm not moving too fast, but we'll go to number 5. So 5 squares. Remember in your geometry, you had the pentagon, right? Penta means 5. So we're gonna have pentrominos. All right, and I'm gonna move these down a little bit. And those are 5 squares we're going to put together. And I'll have to tell you, we're not going to do all of those today. This is going to be a little exploration for you to do on your own. But see if you can find tonight 12 different shapes. Now this is difficult because you will think you have many more. But you have to remember each shape can be different in space, but it's going to still be the same shape, right? So it's hard to exactly find all of those 12. Let's put one here, all right? And obviously this one is one of them, but what if I switched this 3, put 3 up and 2 there? It's still gonna be that same shape, okay? So when you increase your polyominoes, and you have more of these, it's difficult to really decide which ones do I have that aren't alike the others. All right, let's see. Of course you can do your train. You know, that's the easy one. That's always one that you can do. So those are 2 shapes I've just given you. And you can certainly play with this and have quite a few more. See if you can find the 12 shapes. All right. Okay, and I'm gonna leave that at that because I wanna go to another part of our lesson. So hopefully everybody wrote all of these down. I'm not going to reveal all of my 12 different shapes for the pentromenos now, because that's something for you to try to work on. But what I'm going to do is erase this, and then I'm going to give another part of the lesson. This would be a review, because you have been doing, working with these concepts quite a bit. Move these over here a minute. We will be using them in a second. All right, so let's look at perimeter and area. All right, and as I said, it's definitely a review. But perimeter, remember, is the distance or measurement, we might want to say. Around a polygon. Polygons are flat, two-dimensional figures. All right. So we also want to talk about area. Area is the measurement of the interior surface of a polygon. So again, these are two-dimensional figures we're talking about, okay? So let's look at these pentomenos here we have, all right? So I'm just gonna do the area first, use an A, because that's pretty easy. We have 5, right? We're measuring the interior surface, and it's usually done by square units, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 square units here. We could also write that as 5 units squared with our little, or it could be 5u squared, okay? Using some shortcuts that we like to do. All right, but let's look at the perimeter. The perimeter is a little trickier. The perimeter, we are going to go around each of the outside edges, all right? The distance around. So I'm counting these squares. So I have 1, 2, I'm just gonna put a little dot here, 3, 4, 5, this side, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all right? So my perimeter is 12 units. We don't square that for perimeter, we just put down what we have. And tonight, when you're doing this, you can just use numbers if you want, all right? So we have 5 units squared for the area, but 12 units for the perimeter. Now, will the area change with this? Let's say I make a different shape with these 5. Whoops. Okay, let's do this. Oh, there's an interesting shape, right? Little plus sign. All right, now I want to find the area and the perimeter. Well, what's my area? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will stay the same for all of these pieces when you're working with them. Let's say you're going to be working with the 5 tetromenos. But let's look at the perimeter, because that's going to be different. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 units here for the perimeter. So your perimeter, now, okay, that matched the other one, but sometimes it might change, all right? Let's look at the train. So I don't think I did that one last time, did I? I'm trying to remember if that was the train.
You did.
Oh, I did, okay. Well, you might find with some of these different shapes, when you put them in different configurations, that your perimeter might change a little, okay? All right, so with that, I'm going to end this lesson, and I believe you have some homework that you might have already given, but if not, I'll put it up here if you don't have that. It's going to be in your pink book, and it's going to be on page 4, and I want you to see if you can do 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. And sometimes I give a challenge, get a little extra credit for that, or just like, oh, I want to do a little extra to figure some things out. So your challenge will be number 9 in the pink book, okay? And if you have any questions, I'll go ahead and give you my number again. 859-312-1301. You can call or text me anytime except not after 9:30 in the evening, okay? And just when you do that, please identify who you are. Just say, hi, this is Mary, or whatever, okay? So I know, because I don't have all your numbers memorized at this point or in my phone. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the lesson and enjoy using your polyominoes and have fun tonight. And I'll see you next time. Bye.